right, you guys, Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. This episode is a little bit different than our regular episodes. I'm actually talking with one of my friends, Ashli Carnicelli, who we worked together back when I was at Bellasante. She's an esthetician, she's a massage therapist, and she's also a mom of three. And if you guys have been listeners to me for a little while, you know that I have a 17-month-old daughter. I have a 5-month-old puppy. I have a husband with a very demanding job. And so this has been something that I've really been diving into and really trying to figure out is time management as a busy working mom. How do you show up and be present at your job? How do you show up and be present with the people in front of you and still give 100% to your family and still be fully present with your kids? So it's a work in progress for me, as I'm sure it is for many of you out there. But I feel like it's an important conversation that we need to have to let other estheticians, other working moms know that they're not alone, and give yourself permission to not feel guilty for going to work. And, it's just a conversation that I think it was really helpful for me to hear Ashli's perspective. She's working 3 days a week. She has 2 kids under 2 and a 6-year-old. So she definitely, when I feel like I'm getting my butt kicked, I look at her and see how she still shows up with her makeup on and looking great all the time. So it's definitely worth a listen to hear her story, hear some of her tips for how she works smarter rather than harder, which is something I'm a big believer in leverage. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play that interview. All right, I am here with Ashli Carnicelli. She is a licensed esthetician and also the founder of the Skincare Belle blog, and also a mom of 3 with 2 under 2, if I'm correct, right? So talking about being a busy working mom, I think that you definitely take the cake.
It's chaos.
But you're still smiling. You're still smiling. So let's get into a little bit about your story, how your journey in skincare, in aesthetics, and the beauty industry up to this point. Because I know you're dual licensed, right? So you're a massage therapist and also an esthetician, and you've had the opportunity to work in a day spa environment and also a med spa environment. So you've had kind of a lot of different spaces that you can connect with our listeners and what they are kind of going through as busy working moms.
Yes, exactly. So I first came to massage therapy. My husband and I were both music majors. I went to the Boston Conservatory and he went to Berklee College of Music. And then after graduation, he came home and he said, "Ashli, I think I want to be a doctor." And I said, "Okay." I said, "That's fantastic. I think that you'd be a wonderful doctor. So I need to find a day job, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, I don't want to go to school for something that's going to take a very long time to go to school for. I don't want to go into massive amounts of debt because going to medical school, we're already going to have that covered." And so I want to go to school for something that I will enjoy and that I can learn and that I can be working for at least 3 years before you start medical school, so that if we need to move, around the country, I can be hireable, marketable.
Mm-hmm.
So I first went to school for massage therapy at the Bancroft School of Massage Therapy in Worcester, and my program was 13 months, and I absolutely loved it. And then I started working at Bellasante, and that was such an incredible opportunity for me because, for those of you who don't know, Bellasante is a European day spa that has also added a medical spa to them through Daniela. It's amazing. It's just a beautiful place to be and to work. And when I was there, that's how I discovered aesthetics. And one of my massage therapy teachers actually had mentioned to me at graduation, she said, "Listen, I really think you're supposed to be an esthetician." I said, "What is that?" I literally had no idea what it even was. And there are still some people out there who don't know. And they say, oh, do you inject Botox? I'm like, no, no, no. Aesthetics is a completely different thing. And so not only being exposed to that, but also being exposed to women who come from Europe. And in Europe, it's a 4-year degree, and you do massage therapy, you do aesthetics, and you do nutrition. And it's like a wellness, like a holistic program. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so my jam. That is me. That's who I am. And so I decided I didn't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So I decided to focus on massage for 6 years, which I did. And then I enrolled in aesthetic school when my husband was in medical school. And our baby, our oldest, was 6 months old. Because once again, it was a quick, relatively quick program, 7.5 months. It was crazy. I went to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I worked. I condensed my 30 hours of massage at a resort spa into Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I was off on Sundays and home and could see my baby and my husband if he was home, if he wasn't studying. So it was crazy, but I have no regrets about it. And also she was so little, so she doesn't remember. So it was insane, but it was so awesome. And then we ended up moving back to Boston because at that point we were in New York. We ended up moving back to Boston. I went back to Belisante, which I was so thankful to be able to do.
And is that when we met?
That's when we met.
Okay.
And I got to use both of my licenses. And I loved having that flexibility where on my schedule, I could have massage, I could have facials, I could have whatever, and I could do it all. And I loved that. And then now moving to North Carolina with my husband, who's doing cardiology fellowship at Duke, I got hired at a medical spa where I only do medical aesthetics. So I keep my license, my massage therapy license. I do my continuing ed, but I'm not practicing massage anymore. And I'm doing exclusively aesthetics because once again, I don't want to be that person who's like that jack of all trades, master of none, kind of dabbling. I wanted to really commit and learn as much as I could about this now. And so that's where I'm at. And I'm so happy. I love it.
And you added 2 more babies to the mix.
We had our second child. So we have 3 girls, second daughter in November of 2016. And then literally, we signed our mortgage for this house. And a month later, I found out I was pregnant. Of course, it's always how it is. I literally had been hired for 6 weeks at the spa that I work at now. And I had to go into my boss and I was like, listen, I know I'm in my 90 days, but I just wanted to be upfront with you. I just found out I'm pregnant. And they were so excited for me and so supportive. But I just wanted them to know because I was going to then have to take a maternity leave within a year of being hired.
So it sounds like, that gives kind of a good idea of your background. You've continually worked throughout this process. You've got a husband who has, a lot of time away for his work. And I know that physicians, a lot of times they're doing 24-hour shifts and different, kind of odd hours. And being a mom to young, because you're old, how old is your oldest?
Almost 6.
6, and then you have almost 2 and
5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So one of the biggest obstacles that I found in my life, having Taya, who is 17 months now, pretty close to the same age as your middle one, it's really been challenging to find that balance as being very present with our patients, but also being very present with our family. And, for me, one of the things that I really want to teach my daughter is to be true to herself. And I feel that the best way to do that is by being true to myself. And part of who I am is this job. And so when I am, so it's this strange balance that so many moms, I'm sure, go through is the guilt of not spending, as much time as you would like with your kid, but then also wanting to be able to share with them, and teach them that they can be anything that they want to be, that they can, it doesn't matter if they are the president of the United States or if they are a stay-at-home mom. It's as long as they're being true to themselves. So how do you find that balance for yourself to follow your passions and still teach and be present with your children?
So the first thing is being present wherever you are. So when I'm at work and I'm focused on my patients and I'm so excited about it and I'm fully mentally there. And then when I'm home, I'm home. That being said, I also started my blog when I was on maternity leave with my second baby, because that was an outlet for me. My oldest was at preschool, and so, home with a sleeping baby. And I thought, oh my goodness, even though it's short, I feel like I'm going to go cuckoo if I'm just in the house and I'm not thinking about what I'm doing, because I love what I do. And so I did that. And so what I do now is I get up very, very early in the morning, usually 5 a.m. before the whole house is up. That gives me an hour of time with me. I meditate. Sometimes I do yoga. Sometimes I read my scriptures. Sometimes I goal set. Sometimes I just get in the shower because I feel like, oh, it's one of those days I feel like somebody's going to get up early. I want to be up and ready before the whole house is. So that, and then the second thing is what I realized, especially being someone who is supporting, and you totally understand this, supporting a husband who has a very demanding career. You have to move a lot, or you have to support long hours. One of the best pieces of advice I ever received was from another doctor wife who said, don't wait to live your life until your husband's done with his training. And don't put everything off for him. There are going to be compromises, but don't put everything on hold. But at the same time, there's that balance, because now that my oldest is in kindergarten, I realize that life goes by in the blink of an eye. And I'm going to have way more time, hopefully, than I think I do to do everything. Because sometimes, don't you ever feel like you're like a hamster on a wheel, in a good way? Like, I got to do this, and I want to learn this, and I want to take this class, and I got to, and it's like you kind of go crazy. So sometimes I have to remind myself, okay, stay present. Like, look at their little faces. Like, look at how they're looking at the world. Observe them. Be present with them. So meditation definitely helps me with that, to remind me to stay in the moment wherever it is that I am. And also just remembering that, like, it's all good. It's all unfolding the way it should.
That's beautiful advice. That it's easier said than done.
Yes.
When I think it's a constant practice to be able to be present where you are all of the time, because your kids are always with you in your mind. And one of the things that I've done is really be okay with saying no to things and having a hard stop for work. So I think that, as estheticians, when you have patients, or when you are clients, or, a lot of estheticians tend to work on Saturdays, or, it's okay to say no. It's okay to not work on Saturday. It's okay to have a hard stop at 5 o'clock. It's okay, all of these different things. And I think that by allowing yourself that grace, it can really help you as an individual to be a better esthetician with your clients and patients, because you are able to do that without the added stress, but then also making sure that you do have that time with your family. Because with little ones, they're Taya's bedtime 7:30. So you stop work at 5. It's like, all right, make dinner, eat dinner, have a bath, do your bedtime routine. That's a lot to do in 2.5 hours.
Exactly. And one of the things that has really helped me was when I came back to work. So I work at Synergy in Raleigh now, and I love it. And the owner is an esthetician, and my boss is also an esthetician who also just had her first baby. And so when I sat down with my boss, she said, listen, I want you working smarter, not harder. Let's see how we can maximize your time when you're here. So what I did was I condensed my hours. So I work 24 hours a week. I work 3 days. So I work 2 long days, Monday, Tuesday. And then I did keep my Saturdays, because I do have a lot of teen acne patients, and I really didn't want to lose them. I wanted to be available for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but just from 9 to 3. So I'm not gone the entire day. I don't miss everything, especially now that my oldest is in school.
Mm-hmm.
And, so that has been really helpful. And then the other thing is maybe down the line, maybe I'll add another day, but taking it slowly and just kind of seeing how life works and seeing the practicality of that. And also, like, I completely understand. I mean, that 2-hour dinner turnaround when my husband's on a 30-hour call shift, I'm alone with 3 kids and 2 dogs for dinner. And it's like, getting everybody to bed. The 2 babies go to bed at 6:30. My oldest goes to bed at 8. It's like, let's get everybody situated. And so having that where I work those 2 days into the evening, into the late evening, so the kids are in bed when I get home. But then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like I'm there, I'm the one. And it's so nice. Then I can like work, like you said, have a hard stop at the end of my week. And then on Saturday, it's so easy because the kids are either with my parents or with my husband. And, it's
So you said work smarter, not harder. And I love that. So do you have some examples of things that you do at home or other things that you do at work to really, I call that leveraging, so how can you leverage your business and personal life to make it work? So what kind of things do you do at home? What kind of things do you do at work to really leverage your time?
So what I do at home, like I mentioned earlier, that getting up early, because then I set myself up for the whole day. If you, at least for me as a mom, if the first time I open my eyes is because one of my kids is waking me up, whether they're crying or my oldest has come in, I feel like I've already lost the day. The day has already gotten ahead of me. So if I'm up and dressed and ready and I'm ready to go and I'm ready to change a big blowout or make breakfast or get my oldest off to school, then like I have leveraged my time in my day. I've set my goals. I've looked at my goals. I look at them every single day, professional and personal goals. Think about what I'm working on with the girls, what I'm trying to teach them, so like really setting myself up for success. The same thing goes for when I come into work. I print out my work ticket. I write down the time that my treatment has to stop because as you can tell, I'm a gabber. I will totally go over treatment time if I don't keep myself in check because I want to talk to my clients and my patients and hear how they're doing. And, so I write down, okay, the treatment has to end at, 4:55 or whatever it is. And then I write down how many patients I have and then I review their charts. We still keep paper charts on the skin side, on the aesthetic side. And so I review like, okay, what product did they just start using? I need to make sure I ask, how's it going with that? So I really like review. Sometimes I'll even make notes on my work ticket, like has really bad acne. This is the 4th treatment, or like was referred by this patient that I know. So that way I'm really up to speed. I'm not just walking in blindly, and I'm also giving myself a lot of time to set up my room. So it takes me about 45 minutes to get to work because I work in Raleigh and I live in Durham. And so what I do is I always listen to audiobooks. I want my time to be productive. So if I'm driving, I'm listening to something, I'm thinking about something, I'm learning something. Or sometimes
audiobooks are my best friend now. I used to be such an avid reader and now it's like I read one page and my eyes close. So audiobooks are a mom's best friend.
It's huge. And when I'm home on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and my oldest is at school, I take the babies out for a walk, usually first thing in the morning, like 8 or 8:30, and I'll listen to one of my audiobooks when we go for our long walks because they don't care. Most of the time they fall asleep. So they don't care if they're listening to like, self-help books or whatever it is that I'm listening to. They don't care. The most recent one I read was Girl Wash Your Face, and it's so good by Rachel.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, such a good one. So I do that. And then, like I said, at work, like I make sure I arrive at least 30 minutes prior to my shift. I get everything set up, ready to go, make sure I'm stocked in my room and everything is ready. And then sometimes if I'm there early and I work with other moms, I'll set up their rooms for them because I get it. Sometimes like things happen out of our control and you feel like you rush in. So that's really what helps me like leverage my time.
Awesome. Well, it's such an inspiration to hear from you and see what you're doing with 3 kids and a career and a blog and a busy husband. So I know that this will definitely provide some inspiration to some of our listeners that are kind of struggling with the same thing that I am, and that, you have a different time. Every mom, I think, goes through some kind of time management and am I doing the right thing? How can I leverage my time kind of struggle. So I really appreciate you sharing your story.
My pleasure. I'm so happy to talk with you, Daniela. I miss you.
I miss you too. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to make this episode complete for you?
I would say, as an esthetician, one of the things that's really, really important for us to remember is I think our relationships with our patients and clients are very important. But one of the things that really helps me as a busy mom, sometimes stressed out, obviously, that happens, is really focusing on the patients or the clients and them, their lives, and kind of like putting everything else out of my mind and like, let me hear about you, let me hear about what's going on with you, and just focusing on them and focusing on service, and it brings your attention away. So I think that really helps. And also it gives really good customer service, and then people want to come back because they feel heard and they feel appreciated. So I think that's important. And then the second thing I would say is just be really gentle with yourself. Like, there is no invisible audience watching you unless you're posting things on Instagram all the time. But there is no invisible audience watching you, grading you, saying like, you didn't get them in bed in time, or so-and-so missed their nap today, or you gave them goldfish for lunch because you guys were at Target. Sometimes you have to like loosen up on the I'm type A, it's really hard for me. The other thing is too, container storage for toys, so I don't feel like my life is getting taken over by step on. That's huge. But I think just giving yourself that permission to say, like, you know what, it doesn't have to be 100% all tied up all the time. Sometimes it's a little cuckoo.
Yeah, 70% perfect. 70% perfect is perfect.
Exactly.
100% perfect is failure.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Yes, thank you so much, Daniela.